Not good, Ben. Not good at all. A little bit better thanks to our friends in Southampton.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it was kind of terrible. Like and for me, it was quite disconcerting to see because I mean the way I put it down, it's almost all Conte. This loss, you have the
Explain that to
players
me.
you have. Well, you have the players you have, and what we had to put out there was two. I've talked about this before. We had to put out two La Liga fullbacks instead of real wing backs, and we see how much we're missing Doherty already, which meant that our flanks weren't going to be that powerful in this game. And you can go on about Emerson as you want. He actually showed improvement today. He was defensively among our better players, to be honest. But you can see it with Reggie. Reggie comes from the same background, and it's a huge problem for them. They don't understand the movement. They don't understand exactly what Doherty does. Is like the late powerful run, like the late really assertive run. Going with the momentum when the whole the whole block is almost static, then Doherty comes and darts in there and it kind of blows it all up, and you don't get that, and you get the nervousness. And I mean, you want to talk about Emerson kind of losing his nerve and whatever. Like Regulon is like he's much more of a liability and problem in that regard. I mean, I can at least give Regulon the fact that he gets himself in a lot of good positions, but then he completely messes it up.
He doesn't have the composure in the final third at all, does he? Not one bit of composure.
Not at all. And he had. I'll give him that. He did basically give what should have been an assist to Son today, but that was it. Son got unlucky there that he didn't score, but that was basically it. But what happened today is, and like we've been found out, we've got one pattern playing out from the back, and now every manager in the league knows that pattern, and Conte has not been able to drill in alternatives. And what we need to do in this, like what I felt, and I talked about it when I called in on Friday, is like we need to have a way of going fluidly from the 3-4-3 to a 3-5-2, which we can't do without sopping any. Kane drops down to the middle, and Kulo and Sonny go into the two. If we do that, then we regain the middle. We're losing the midfield constantly now. If we lose the midfield, you can see, it looked like they were lazy, like they weren't pressing, like they weren't running. It's because they didn't know what to do, because the pivot wasn't there. They didn't get any service from the pivot today, because they had I counted it. They never had less than 4 players on Bentancur and Højbjerg, and like I said also in the preview, my biggest worry was if Basuma had a good game, and he had an awesome game.
He was unbelievable today.
Yeah. And what did we have to do? We had to completely slaughter that guy, get him out of the game, put as many resources as possible into that, So like Potter did a real job on Conte, and it's a little bit worrying because Conte didn't react, and you actually saw a shot where he was talking to his number 2 there, and he didn't know what to do. It was clear he was lost for solutions. And of course, I mean, he would have a lot more options if he had some wing backs in there. We don't have the wing backs now. It doesn't. You can't just say that's what you need. Now you need to find solutions for what you have there, And I know that Conte doesn't want to go back to the 4 at the back. So I think we should definitely start drilling more into having a fluidity between the 3-4-3 to 3-5-2, because if we do that, then we at least can get the overload on the midfield. And if we have, and also like the left backs are probably going to be, or the full backs, sorry, are probably going to be more useful in that role rather than as an attacking option. So, I would definitely say Conte. Yeah, I mean, of course, we've also been saying how much Conte has been overperforming. So this is maybe back to reality a little bit, but I also want to maybe encourage all of us, not to panic and not to think that our players went all Spursy today. It looks like that for sure, but I really think it's because now we're down to these patterns and these drills and whatever. And if it breaks down completely like today, yeah, then they will be a little bit clueless. Now we really, really, really need to work on a fluid backup, whether it be what I say, like a 3-5-2, or even go back to a 4 at the back or whatever. I don't know. We need to tactically be able to reformat, in play, because if we don't, then we lose. Then the recipe for stopping us is pretty clear. And I think also, like, I was very disappointed with Conte. He should have switched Reggie for Sessegnon at the halftime. He should have been ruthless there. Definitely should have done that, and he should have put Lucas in instead of Winks. His first sub was Winks, which was like, I mean, maybe Winks was doing something good in training or whatever, but like historically, that to me was not the right move at all. I don't know.
JORRI, what does Bergwijn have to do to get more than a couple of minutes?
Well, and you could say the same for Lucas, because I mean, I know Bergwijn is hot now, and we should really get more use out of that. But in general, like, we have two players here that are very valuable individuals. They don't fit into the system for sure. We don't have an option. We need to start training them as wingbacks. They need to be more like, they need to be our more offensive versions of the wingbacks. We can have the defensive versions, Reggie and Emerson, and then we can have the more offensive. Then you might be able to play like one offensive on one side and one defenses on, and have a lopsided thing going there. I think Bergwijn, especially, it was like even when he did the sub, I thought it was wrong to do Son, even though Son was closed down completely today. I thought if you had put Bergwijn on there with Son, then either one might have gotten joy. Then it's too much to handle on that side, So, but taking exactly Son out, for it's almost a 1-to-1 tactically, So
I mean, I thought at that time you got to take out a defender and put on Bergwijn and go for at the back. You have to do that and create an overload up front. Exactly.
I wanted Reggie out for Bergwijn. That was what I was hoping for, And I wanted fine with the midfield substitution, but then I would have wanted Lucas as the midfield option and keeping Emerson then instead, So because that meant then Emerson can go into just more like a normal left back, right back. But yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I think Conte, he's maybe, how I rate Conte. I consider him the best in the world when you sum it all up. But I definitely think, like, here, for example, a Mourinho would have done a better job in this situation, I think, to be honest. I think Conte is not maybe a ideologue, like I've talked about. Klopp and Pep are ideologues. They have, and Arteta is ideologue. But Conte is much closer. Like, Conte has a couple of versions, and that's what he's going to go with. He's not going to just try and conjure like completely new stuff up like Mourinho will do, So we have to give that man a little bit respect for his tactical brilliance, to be honest. But also, it was so disappointing to see. I mean, even Kane's touch. I'm getting worried now that Kane is getting too cold, because he's not been on the score sheet. Like he's not been in the thick of action for a bit now, Because I thought Kane's touch was quite off as well, So and maybe
let me ask you this, JORRI, about Harry Kane, because I thought today that he didn't come back and help in the midfield at all. He wasn't dropping back at all today. And, when you could see the overload Brighton were creating in the midfield on top of our midfield, and not only that, but you could see how we weren't creating any sort of clear-cut chances whatsoever. Why didn't Harry Kane come back? Was that under instruction, or is that due to Harry Kane just desperately wanting a goal and sticking up front?
That is the question, Ben, for sure. Is it instruction, or was Kane I kind of felt like there was a little bit of a grumpiness in the group in general, and maybe we're so sensitive to, maybe they need such constant attention and pampering from Conte, then a couple of days off with COVID is enough to kind of get some bad mentality back in the squad. Maybe that was a bit of it as well. But I also think, like, I don't want to go too far with the Spursiness, because I think if you're completely closed down tactically, these players they're playing completely by numbers that Conte has put down. And if that's not working, then they really don't maybe have the answers, then they don't have the option of trying to make it up as they go. And that's maybe where Kane in the olden days would have taken more. Like, you would see Kane sometimes in these games just get pissed and just go down, take the ball, and just dribble his way through and put one in, and you don't see that now, because I think exactly the instruction is very clear and Kane is very diligent. But maybe Kane should have dropped a little bit. I mean, it was what was needed there for sure. Yeah. Kane was. Yeah. I think Kane dropping and having the five midfield and two up front would have helped us a lot there, because Kulu was ineffective as well,
Yeah. So do you think it was a sending off, by the way?
Say what?
Do you think Kulu should have been sent off?
No, not at all. But by the way, like, I have to say this, like, we're watching the top league in the world. We're watching by far the highest revenue earning league in the world, and the level of refereeing in this league, man, come on, guys, this is really unbelievable. Like, you don't see this in top level European football. I don't know if it's incompetence or corruption in the FA or whatever. It's really, really shocking. We've had 2 games in a row where the referees basically destroyed the flow of play. Last game, 2 injuries from last game. Should have been 4 or maybe even 4 more. It was just pure luck that they didn't get more injuries. So that wasn't helping us, the way the flow got stopped with endless bad refereeing decisions, So, but yeah, it's a little bit worrying. But now I do believe that we should also. I say, like, we know that it's not going to be flawless to the end of the season, so we should also maybe, in our own way, take this, like Conte says, this is a bit of the suffering. This is suffering that we can work on and improve and make the feed more improvement in our squad, and that I still believe that's what we're gonna see. We're having a couple of hiccups, but it's gonna be okay, I think. So
we're still gonna make top 4, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, big up, JORRI. Yeah. Thanks for coming on today, mate, and we'll speak to you later.
Yeah, see you.